and welcome to the program Visitors Book. I'm your host Hira Mustafa, and today I'm here at the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia. Our guest today is His Excellency Mr. Alamdar Tugio. So let's go meet him and find out what he has to share about his experience here in Pakistan. Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for having me today. I would like to start with, it's been less than a year that you have been posted here in Pakistan. What was the first impression about the country in your mind when you got to know about your posting here?
Well, once again, welcome in the embassy to you and your team. And I think what a pleasant surprise for me when I first received the information that I would be posted in Pakistan. Pakistan is very known because of its beauty, and I think throughout my career I spent most of the times in Europe and the US, so I think that would be a good opportunity for me to be closer to home, to Indonesia. So Pakistan is the ideal places to go. So and another consideration, because Pakistan once again is a very beautiful country. I learned a lot about Pakistan when I was posted in New York. Many friends of mine, Pakistani diplomats, so I learned from them also some of the Pakistani delicious cuisines. But part of that, I learned how dynamic of Pakistan. And even when I landed in Islamabad, I was surprised to learn how green is Islamabad. It's very green, and I had a chance to go to Fatima Jinnah with my wife, spend some time in Fatima Jinnah, several times go there, and I was surprised to learn the huge, in terms of the wide of the area of Fatima Jinnah, is as big as the Central Park of London, or Central Park of New York, or even Hyde Park of London. So this is something that make me surprised, to know more about the Pakistan.
All right. So as you mentioned that you were posted in US and UK, so like when you got to know about your posting here, what are the major changes you have felt here when you landed here, if we compare them to the US and UK?
Well, I think in terms of the environment, the same, Pakistan also have the fall weather.
Yeah.
Like in the US, you also have a nice, beautiful scenery, with snow in many parts of the Pakistan. And I learned from Indus TV actually, the beautiful, potential of the tourism in Pakistan. There's a lot of places worth visiting in Pakistan. So I really want to enjoy my posting here to explore more places in Pakistan. Europe and the US, they have their own civilizations. They also, we learn from the history how both two continents enrich the history of civilizations. But don't forget that Pakistan also have a lot of hidden stories about civilization. You have a Taxila, for instance, whereby some remnants of the Hindu temples were there. Even
they're still being preserved. They're still being preserved.
Good, and still be preserved. And I went there to Taxila, and I learned that Siddhartha Gautama spent their early time studying in Taxila, and then disseminate their principles to the students in Taxila. So I was amazed at the fact that in Taxila also we find the remnants of the Roman civilization. So this is something that for me myself, it is something that very interesting to learn about the history of Pakistan.
Oh, okay, that's so fascinating to know that you know much about our country already before coming here. Excellency, the world is put on hold for a while just because of the pandemic. How do you see the current government coping up with the situation here in Pakistan?
Well, I praise the effort of the Pakistani government in trying to prevent the spread of COVID-19 viruses. And in fact, if we look at the study by different international organizations, you see that Pakistan is one of the countries that being lauded as a successful country in trying to curb the spreadings of Pakistan's. And recently, actually last month, the National Health Institute of Pakistan got award from the one of the associations in the U.S. Receive a praise as the best directors. So in training. So this is one again a reflections how Pakistan's government successfully managed try to limit the spread of the viruses using the smart lockdown approach. So if you look at the rate of the viruses, you see that Pakistan is quite stable in the number, if you like, word odometer. I think this is once again a testament how the successful of Pakistan's government trying to respond to this pandemic.
True. Excellency, when in the initial days of the pandemic, when this outbreak took place of COVID-19, Indonesia was the least affected country, but now the cases are increasing. Is it because of the slow rollout vaccine process, or is it something else?
So very interesting questions. This is also intrigued me to learn more about this. Why? So suddenly the cases, the ratio of positive cases in Indonesia increasing. There are several factors contribute to those. One, because of the Eid Mubarak, if I look at the statistic and then we learn that, the spike the cases of COVID increasing after the Eid Mubarak, because Eid Mubarak is a festival, the big festival in Indonesia, being the largest Muslim countries, but not only Indonesia, I believe in Pakistan.
In Pakistan also, yes.
So the governments already implement very strict regulations at the time, discouraging people to, to socialize, limiting their interactions, pay more times with the family at home rather than visiting the families. But because of the traditions, it is very difficult to once again to keep people, at home, all the time. And the second things, I think people tend to relax when they realize that the cases was go down.
Okay, yes.
At the same time, the virus is evolving.
Yeah.
With the new variant.
With new variants, yes.
New variants. So it makes difficult then. In terms of the vaccinations programs in Indonesia, up to August, they're already 24% in the percentage. 24% populations got the vaccinations.
Okay.
But certainly still far away from
it is like
to reach the herd immunity because according to the scientists, it should be reached 70%. So we hope, we work hard, the government is work hard in trying to meet those objectives. It is not easy because one of the challenges also, not only for Indonesians, but also for the global community, how to get or how to ensure the equal or fair, equal access to the vaccine. If you look at the statistics, it's very interesting because the US or Europe, the vaccinations already reached more than 80%. But in Africa, it's very low.
Yeah, it is.
Less than,
the vaccination rate is quite low.
Yeah, quite low. In Africa, less than 10%.
Yes.
In Asia, I guess around 20%. So I think this is one of the challenges also. But at the same time, another challenge also because the productions of the vaccine is very limited. This is a new thing, whereby many pharmaceutical companies also now they are actually in trial processes in emergency situations. So I think we have to once again remind people to
follow
once
the
again,
SOPs.
Yeah, to adhere
to
adhere to the SOP faithfully, because I think this is for the benefits not only the health of the individuals but also the health of people that you love.
True.
Because once again, it should start from the individual.
True.
So once again, adhere to the health protocol.
Exactly. I mean, people should follow the SOPs and maintain the social distance because variants are evolving. Excellency, while you were being posted in UK, the outbreak of the pandemic took place. Did your government call you back, or you managed to stay there?
The government called me back twice, I think, in the preparations of the new signing, because I was first informed, I guess, on May last year, and then in preparations, we were then, asked to go back to get a briefing meetings with a lot of ministers also, because we want the governments want every new ambassadors to be ready.
All right.
And get focused on the upcoming, tasks in trying to increase the bilateral relations. So there was a program arranged by the upcoming ambassadors, usually in the capitals, whereby we were arranged to meet with several ministries and having briefings, and dialogues with business partners also. Twice, and then for the when I was in Jakarta, the second time also I went back to Jakarta on September.
If you talk about your educational background and family, first of all, before moving towards the educational background, I would like to talk about your family. Is your family here with you?
I'm here with my wife. Enjoying the second honeymoon. My two daughters still in Jakarta. They are working in Jakarta, but they are planning to go. They're very keen to to visit me and my wife here during the summer. I keep telling them there's a lot of worth seeing in Pakistan, thanks to the Indus TV. You introduced me with a lot of tourist destinations in Pakistan. There are a lot of beautiful places to visit, and they really wants to go here.
Okay.
Hopefully, the health situation improving, then they would be able to join me and my wife to explore more beautiful places in Pakistan.
All right, we're looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Excellency, being a diplomat, it's a part of your job also that you have to travel different parts of the world and meeting different people from different background and culture. How will you define your experience in terms of that? And also, I would like to ask you, what do you miss when you are at different postings in the world about your native country?
Let me respond to the last questions first.
All right.
I think one that I personally miss very much about Indonesia is the cuisines.
Okay.
Especially in Pakistan, because first, there is no Indonesian restaurant.
Oh.
In Islamabad, or probably in the whole countries. We have probably thousands of Indonesian diaspora living in different parts of Pakistan, but to my understanding, there's no single Indonesian restaurant in Pakistan. The second, because of the COVID, then the Asian market also, most of them are closed. So finding special spices, special special spices from Indonesia is hard to find.
Okay.
So it's really difficult. This is something that sometimes make me and
you nostalgic.
Yeah, nostalgic. Because in terms of the music or in terms of the movie, now with the internet, it's accessible. You can hear Indonesian music. You just finding in the YouTube or even Spotify. But cuisines, it is not virtual. You cannot taste this without taste, this cuisine.
So did you manage to bring your cook here for the Indonesian cuisine?
The Indonesian government facilitate all ambassadors to bring a chef.
Okay.
To help, preparing the Indonesian cuisine, especially when we have a social event like a dinner or lunch, inviting a colleague from diplomatic communities, or also from business and Pakistani friends. So we usually serve Indonesian food, because I think this is part of the effort to introduce Indonesians through cuisines, you know,
True.
through cuisines diplomacy. And yeah, I mean, surprisingly, there's a lot of similarities between the two countries in terms of cuisine.
Yeah, Excellency, you missed my question. I asked how fascinating it is.
The first questions, yeah, allow us to travel a lot.
True.
I think this is one of the advantage of being diplomat, because you know you will be able to travel, you know, to explore new areas, meeting new friends, you know, knowing a new culture, especially for those who love the history. I think, let alone the international politics, but you know, the history. This is, you know, one thing that I think one of the advantage of being diplomat, because with that, then you know, it will expand your horizons. You're meeting friends, you're meeting
True.
new people from different cultural backgrounds, and you know, with that, then it teaches you to become more sensitive toward others who have different culture, different traditions. So this is, I think, that you know, one of the memorable things of being a diplomat.
All right, that's so interesting to know. And now it's time to take a short break. I will be meeting you guys in a while. Welcome back. I'm here in conversation with Mr. Adam Tugio, and what a beautiful view it is.
Thank you.
What a lovely garden you have here at the embassy.
Thanks to the weathers also.
Yeah, weather is nice too, pleasant. So, Mr. Ambassador, I would like to talk about your educational background, and you did your master's and bachelor's in law from US. What made you study law, and why US?
Well, simple reasons. When I was, you know, in the junior high schools, I like to collect stamps. I'm philatelist.
All right.
Philatelist. So collecting, you know, stamps from, you know, different countries, you know, make me exciting to know more about, you know, other countries, you know, history, everything, and also the law, the legal system, because Indonesia inherited, you know, a continental system which is different than the rest of the world, like in the UK and the US. So it intrigued me to learn more about, you know, the law. And, you know, and I landed in the you know, the foreign services then after graduating my school.
Okay, I mean, you studied law. Have you ever got a chance to practice law?
No. In terms of, I practice by doing, you know, because, you know, I spent most of my tenures in the ministries dealing with the legal issue, some sort of like legal counselors to the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs. So I dealing with the law of the seas and, you know, delimitations issues. So to some extent, you know, I implement what I learned from the schools, you know, through, you know, working in the ministry.
All right. I mean, your diplomatic career started in 1984. So was it always in your mind that you wanted to be a diplomat, or it just happened?
Yeah, I think the hobby collecting stamps, you know, first, you know, inspired me to know more about other countries, and then, you know, it makes determinations to become a diplomat. But I didn't realize at that time, because when I first joined the ministry, I just finished the high school.
All right.
Yeah, so I just finished the high school.
And then you jumped into that.
Yeah, I finished the high schools, and then I took law studies at night, because in the morning I work in the ministry. So it's like a double, you know, like a moonlighting then. But Alhamdulillah, I finished my law studies. Then, you know, after completing the degree, then I joined the ministries, the diplomatic career in the ministry, because apparently they have a different programs for the individuals to become diplomats. So only those who graduate from the university who can, enroll the diplomatic academy in Indonesia.
All right.
So that's what bring me to be part of the diplomatic community.
Excellency, now I would like to talk about the bilateral ties between the two countries, and both the countries share a mutual bond of trust and respect. Back in 2010, both the countries signed a defense cooperation agreement. What is this agreement about? Would you please like to highlight it?
Well, defense cooperation is highlighting the importance of the two countries to share best practices in lesson learned on areas whereby we have shared concerns. I mean, we commend the Pakistan's roles in promoting peace and security.
Yeah.
Like Indonesia, Pakistan's also on the list of the top 10 troops contributing countries to the UN.
Yeah.
So one of the area for the bilateral cooperations on defense, once again, increasing the capacity building, especially on the peace keeping missions.
Okay.
This is one of the areas because the two countries share, working together also in trying maintaining peace and security in one or the few countries who have, conflicts, in different parts of the world. So
Yes.
this is one of the area. In addition to the, we also have a joint exercise. The Indonesian Navy, for instance,
I
participate
think,
the Aman.
Yeah, and also joint military drills also took place back in 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
What were they about?
Well, actually, nowadays, since the defense corporations encompassing all services, so not only the Army, but also Navy and Air Forces also, they have separate, track, to engage more interactions between the military to military of our two countries. And I think that drill is part of the capacity building programs, like the one that I just mentioned to you. The Indonesian Navy participate in Aman exercise in
that took place recently in Karachi. Yes. Okay, Excellency, I think we should continue our conversation on that part.
Thank you.
So, Excellency, what is this about? I mean, I can see August 17 is your Independence Day, and what a coincidence! Pakistan's Independence Day is also on
the
14th.
Yeah. Well, what a pleasant, coincidence that the two countries celebrate their national Independence Day in the same month. It's very close. I think. This is a good time for Indonesia and Pakistan to reflect, the bilateral relations also as usual when we celebrate our national days, Independence Day especially. We reflect on what would be the achievement, and then try to also looking forward what would be the next course of actions in responding to the future challenges. So I think this is part of our celebrations also.
So, Excellency, since we're talking about the bilateral ties, and what policies is your government working on to increase the trade ties between the two countries? As back in 2016, the trade ties were at $2.3 billion.
Well, thanks for the questions. I think this is the intentions of the government of both sides, even the leader of both sides, emphasizing the importance to increase the trade relations between Indonesia and Pakistan. And if we look back in the history, we see once we concluded the PTA, Preferential Trade Agreements, the trade relations are doubled. So we enjoyed very much, the trade, increasing trade. And I think nowadays we are trying also to expand more, because if you look at more detail into trade and we see the items that being traded bilaterally is limited to several items. So we need to expand, to diversify the tradings between the two countries. For that reasons, then there are several steps that being taken by the two sides. Now we're reviewing the PTA agreement with the view to have what we call it trade in goods agreement. But initially, essentially, is actually to allow more and more goods to be traded, between the two countries, enjoying low tariff for both sides. This is something that we are now doing. The second negotiation already been undertaken, so now we are preparing the next rounds of negotiation.
All right.
The second, which is now very important, I think due to the COVID, that we have to find ways to be innovative in facilitating, the trade to ensure that the trade keep moving. Because I think one of the challenges that we are facing is not only Indonesia and Pakistan, but we see the global trade badly affected because of the pandemic. You see, for instance, the shipment of a container, they reduce significantly.
True.
Now, what we are trying to do, the embassy is trying to facilitate those by arranging many virtual meetings, actually. But the idea is actually to allow business to continue, have interactions.
Now would like to talk about the social-cultural exchange between the two countries. What projects are you working on, or your prime focus is to enhance this cooperation?
Well, this is very interesting questions. I have a patience to, once again, to promote bilateral relations through cultural. First, on the educations. Nowadays, we notice that 10 universities in Indonesia, they have a counterpart in Pakistan around the same number.
All right.
2 days ago, so another university just concluded an MOU, but this is specifically university who have the public health, studies, nursing, one of the specific areas whereby we tend to improve in the educational sector. I have an idea. I presented the idea to him to invite Pakistani students, design students, or all Pakistani brother and sister who who love design and art, to design batik with Pakistani motif. So batik is very special Indonesians, but I think it is a medium of expressions.
All right.
It's like a white paper, whereby if you have a creativity, then you can draw anything in white paper. So batik is like that. It's the medium. It's made of cotton. Most of them made from cottons, but some, for the high end, they use also a silk, for batiks. So, but toward the end of this year, we are going to, make competitions, batik with Pakistani design.
All right, Excellency. I would like to talk about the ASEAN. You, in one of your interviews, you assured Pakistan that you support them whenever it comes about ASEAN. So what do you think are the potential sectors in which Indonesia can invest in?
Yeah, well, this is very interesting because we did some research and we found out that 42% of ASEAN populations are Muslims.
Okay.
So it serves as a good foundation for
all the Muslim countries.
Not only the all Muslim countries, but ASEAN as the whole, with Pakistani.
Yeah.
Because this is the cultural affinity brought by the Islamic values will make people close to each other. Not to mention also the diaspora. Pakistani diaspora is also very huge in ASEAN. So we then, trying to promote, bilateral relations, ASEAN and Pakistan's, mindful that, we see the strategic location of Pakistan, from the Indonesian perspective, the geo-economy of Pakistan. Pakistan is ideally located in the very strategic position. So if you want to expand trade to Central Asia, for instance, even to the western part of China. Why not
Yeah.
using the Pakistan?
All right, Excellency, I hope the bilateral ties between the two countries become more stronger in the future.
you.
And since we share the same month of independence, would you like to say something on that?
Well, thank you very much. The bilateral relations between our two countries we enjoyed the cordial relations, and as reflected in different aspects of the bilateral relation we just make a reference to during these discussions. May I also use this opportunity to extend warmest congratulations to Pakistani brother and sister in celebrating their Independence Days in the same month, like Indonesia.
Right.
Wishing Pakistani more prosperous and become the great nations.
All right, Excellency, I hope the future ties between the two countries increase with the passage of time, and we hope that we share the same mutual respect and trust we have. And now it's time to take a short break. I will be meeting you guys in a while. Welcome back. I'm in conversation with Mr. Adam Tugio. So, Excellency, I would like to talk about the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project, as many of the regional countries are investing here in Pakistan when it comes to CPEC. What is the stance of your government?
Well, it's very interesting questions. We see CPEC will transform the economy of Pakistan because the essence of CPEC is actually building the connectivity. So if you look at the CPEC, then it will connect not only internal domestic Pakistan, but also to the wider region, to the central part of Asia and the western part of China.
Right.
So this is something that we look at the potential of the CPEC and Pakistan as a hub for Indonesia to penetrate the market beyond Pakistan. So we are very keen to invest in CPEC using the Gwadar port. There is a lot of studies already indicated that the shortest ways to to do business to the western part of China through Gwadar port, and all certainly will be using the facilities, the infrastructures being built under the CPEC program. So we are very keen, and I think this is one of the area whereby I working together with my team here in trying to, once again, to encourage more business community in Indonesia to invest in Pakistan, especially taking seizing the momentums of CPEC and the special economic zones being established by the Pakistani government, which offer many advantages, for the foreign, investors to do business in Pakistan. So, yeah, we are, really looking forward of having more and more company from Indonesia to invest in CPEC. One of the companies already actually invest in CPEC, the biggest noodle company of Indonesia, Indomie, who already opened their they opened their factory in Faisalabad, in one of the special economic zone in Faisalabad. So they will start their productions by the end of this year. But during my conversations with the management of this company, they also want to expand further because they see, Pakistan as, is very strategic in terms of the locations. It's very strategic to, once again improve and expand, trade beyond Pakistan to the central part of Asia and also to the western part of the China.
All right, that's so interesting, and I hope we look forward to enhance our bilateral ties and cooperation more in this field and domain. Excellency, have you managed to see enough of Pakistan here during your stay? Like, it's been only 9 months.
Yeah, well, I have a MAC list actually, and there are many places worth visiting in Pakistan.
All right.
I see that the Prime Minister Imran Khan is also promoting tourist sector in Pakistan, and I think Pakistan is a country which is blessed with natural beauties and diverse cultures, which is worth visiting. And I already make a list, but due to the COVID, the farthest places that I went is Lahore.
Okay.
I traveled to Lahore, I guess 3 times, and had a chance to explore many heritage, beautiful places in Lahore, like Fort, which is in the central of Lahore, and also the mosque,
Badshahi Mosque.
Badshahi Mosque, whereby we see also the tomb of Allama Iqbal there.
All right.
So that's the places that I went in Lahore. But I think not only Lahore, close to Islamabad, there are also many places worth visiting, like Murree.
Yeah, Murree.
I hope I pronounce it correctly. Murree. I traveled several times to Murree.
What do you like most about Murree?
I mean, the scenery,
Okay.
And also the traditional market. If you go to the Murree, don't forget to go to the traditional market.
True.
Yeah, I went there.
And I think the traditional market is pretty much similar as it is in Indonesia.
You're right. There is a lot of similarities actually on the cultural part of Indonesia. One thing that we notice is the traditional market, and I think in the 9 months I stayed in Pakistan, I noticed a very surprising, pleasant surprise to learn that a lot of similarities between the 2 countries, from fashion to cuisines.
Okay.
So I think the cuisine is something that people are easily to relate. For instance, you have in front of you.
What is this?
We call it. It looks like samosa, right?
Yeah, it is somewhat similar.
Yeah, quite similar with samosa. We call it pastel.
Okay, pastel.
It's very similar with samosa. Even you have the cake layer.
Yes.
The cake layer, the sweet. This is the savory, and the sweet is quite similar with that of in Pakistan. And in terms of similarities, the embassies, we are now planning to issue the book in terms of a coffee table book, capturing
in terms of the similarities, the
capturing
cultural
the similarities between the 2 countries.
All right.
We start from many things, because if you see it in the cultures, this is unique traditions of bull racings, right?
Yeah.
Which
And
actually commons also.
Here we have Polo Shandur Festival. It's somewhat similar.
Yeah, and now with regard to the cuisines, because people are easily to relate. I understand Pakistani people like Indonesians, when they travel abroad, one thing that they keep asking is whether it is easily to find our national dishes.
What do you like most about Islamabad as a capital?
As the capital, I was surprised to learn, first, it's very modern. And you have the transportations, also reliable transportations, which easily connect Islamabad to its twin city in Rawalpindi. And it's very greening also. I found that Islamabad, you have many city garden.
People from all over the world love to travel to northern areas of Pakistan. If we talk about Gilgit-Baltistan, Hunza, because of their natural beauty and the landscape. So, I mean, is it on your traveling list that you will be paying a visit to those areas?
Yeah, I remember, because many of my colleagues already told me you should have to go to Hunza.
All right.
Because there is beautiful place to go. So I'm planning actually to go to Hunza with my wife, already on the list certainly. As I mentioned before, that my daughters also want to join us, so we save for the time being, waiting until our 2 daughters join us to travel together to Hunza and exploring the northern part of Pakistan, which is It's very beautiful. And once again, thanks to the Indus TV to introduce me with many, beautiful places worth visiting in Pakistan, especially on the northern part of Pakistan.
So, Excellency, now I'd like to talk about the truck art. And the truck art culture is very famous here in Pakistan. Is it the same in Indonesia? Is it having the same popularity?
Well, thanks for the questions. I first learned about truck art when I was in Washington, D.C. I saw beautiful truck in the middle of a national monument in Washington, D.C. It's very beautiful. I didn't realize that, it is a truck art,
Okay.
And now when I arrived in Islamabad, I learned this is actually one of the icon of Pakistan, the truck art. In Indonesia, we also have the creativity processes of making a truck art is also common in Indonesia. But I should say that in Indonesia, probably we use different approach in making beautiful truck with paintings. But one thing that the prevalence that truck art in Pakistan is very beautiful, and I think I captured also the truck art here in my in the book, which depicts this beautiful truck art in Pakistan, and this is truck art Indonesia.
They're pretty much similar.
Similar.
In terms of art, is a little bit different.
Correct. Yeah, we use also as a medium to express.
All right, Excellency. I mean, it's been only 9 months that you are living here in Pakistan. I mean, what do you do in your free time apart from bilateral meetings and stuff like that? What are your hobbies?
Well, I like to listen to music.
Okay.
During my spare times, enjoying the weekends while reading books, listening to the music, will boost the spirit and energy. And I like some of the Pakistani musicians, which I keep hearing. One is Atif Aslam.
Oh wow!
Atif Aslam is very romantic.
Yeah,
I like.
He's also my favorite.
Okay. And the second thing, musicians, Shakal.
Satchel. Yeah, Satchel band.
Satchel band, the Satchel jazz ensemble, which I even know it when I was in Washington D.C. I learned, that Satchel at that time also played with Winston Marsalis. So and then this is one thing also that my favorite. Whenever I travel, usually I go to the market and try to find CD, a blend of traditional music with jazz. Because like a Satchel group music, this is something that I like because I want to see, how the modern, music they can blend nicely with the new instruments, a new approach of jazz, for instance. So I like a Satchel jazz ensemble.
Okay. Also, music is a universal language, and it is a language of love.
You don't need to understand, the
lyrics.
You just enjoy the music. Yeah. So this is something that I like. In last week, actually, I attended the Serena Serengi music.
Satrangi music festival.
I pronounced it.
Yes.
Satrangi. Yeah, I enjoy the Satrangi music. It is traditional Pakistani music, right?
All right, thank you so much. Well, that's all for now. I will be meeting you guys next week with another exciting episode of Visitor's Book. That's all for now, but you can follow us on our social media handles at indus.news.